Hi, my name is Michelle and I'm a biotechnologist. I'm currently doing my PhD and I'm also working as part of a vaccine development program. Basically, what I do is that I study the structures of small molecules such as DNA and proteins, and I investigate how these structures relate to their functions. And I do all of this computationally, and the end game of the particular project I'm working on is that we hope to design a vaccine for one of the diseases that's currently affecting our livestock in southern Africa. Other spaces I've worked in, I've also worked as part of a nanotechnology project. We were dealing with drug delivery for HIV, and that was lots of fun. I can safely say I've always wanted to be some kind of scientist. When I was in primary school, the first dream that I had was to be an astronomer. I was really into stars and galaxies and learning about how black holes formed. Then, when I was halfway through primary school, I became passionate about the idea of saving lives. So, I wanted to become a surgeon, and for a very long time, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon. That was up until I was about 15. Then, I caught on to the idea of biotechnology, and that pretty much stuck. So, going into A level, I picked my subjects with that in mind, and when I went to varsity, I did my undergrad and honors in that, and the career just kind of stuck. Growing up, I was lucky in that I was exposed to a lot of books at home. We had lots of encyclopedias and a lot of these busy books that were basically meant to keep kids entertained by doing science-oriented activities. And I could say that definitely played a role in making science fun and in exposing it to me as a career option. TV also played a role, but to a lesser extent. We had two TV channels, unless you were lucky enough to have DSTV at the time. So there was TV1 and TV2. And TV2 was your edutainment. So there were a lot of documentaries, things like Encyclopedia Britannica, and that also made science fun and made just education in general a form of entertainment. I did not have any fears when I entered the workplace as a women scientist based on my abilities, but I'm not unaware of issues that affect us as black women, such as sexism, racism, pay inequality. And these are issues that affect women across the board in all spheres and all careers. But when it comes to getting funding, access to funding is a big thing in science. It basically determines whether or not you can start up your lab, whether or not you can keep your lab running. So if the likelihood of you getting funding is less because your name is not John Smith, that can basically put a break on your career. It's a make or break thing. And that is, yeah, definitely a fear that I have coming up if I decide to stay in academia. That would definitely be an issue. But on a positive note, I've loved seeing senior researchers having labs, running labs, with 2.5 kids and a husband, and they're basically doing it all. They found a good work-life balance, and with the right support system, I think one can have it all as a woman in science. So that has been encouraging, because sometimes people tell you that it's impossible to have both as a women scientist, that you have to give something up. But I've seen that you don't have to give anything up. You can do it all, provided you have, of course, the right support system. I have seen women drop out of STEM to pursue other careers, and the main reason I think is economic. We face a lot of pressure to support our families coming out of undergraduate degrees, and unfortunately for a lot of careers in STEM, one needs to do postgraduate degrees, so a lot of people fall out of the system in that way. Another major reason that we don't like to talk about is racism. And it's a very elegant form of racism. It's not your name calling, it's not your lynching, but it's the subtle racism that one experiences when you have, in many cases, a white professor. And to progress in science or to progress in academia, one needs to have a good relationship with your mentor. So if look at the stats where over 50% of positions in academia are white men and only 10% are black women. Something's not adding up. And at some point, black women are falling out of the system. And why is that? It's poor mentorship, poor relationships between mentors and mentees. So unless we can find ways to address this racism that happens, find ways in which we can have more black women serving as mentors to help black women get through their degrees, the inequality is going to persist and people are just going to give up. Doing a postgraduate degree is not easy. And seeing black women being kept as props, being kept as tokens just to have the numbers is not good enough. More work needs to be done to help women actually complete their degrees and actually have good mentors to help them do that. I love being a scientist. It's a large part of who I am. The title of scientist is how I present myself to the world for the most part. It's how I see myself. But it's not everything. Because I spend a bit of time outside of science, I got to appreciate other careers, having other career options. And so if I were to ever leave science, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Touch wood. I always want to be a scientist. But leaving science made me appreciate that there's more to me in terms of career options that I can identify. Still be the same person, still be a critical thinker, still research, still be able to do research, and just not have that title. So that was very important for me. To be a woman in science. The first time my gender came up in an academic setting was in undergrad. A group of guys came up to me at the end of the first year, and they told me that they were upset with me, they were annoyed with me because I had gotten higher marks than them in maths and chemistry. What? That was so ridiculous. Like, seriously, guys? That was very strange for me because I'd gone to an all-girls school, so the idea that men were that sensitive about it was foreign to me. Needless to say, they had to get to the program because girls were top of the class for the duration of our degree program. So, sorry guys. On a more serious note, gender and race definitely do come up when I travel, when I go to international conferences, because a lot of the time, just based on my personal experiences, I have been the only black woman or woman of color, which is fine for me on a personal level. But people then feel that they can make comments like, you must be so exceptional to have made it in science. No, because what they actually mean is, you are exceptional for a black person. They always want a backstory to explain how it is that you got to be here, that you were adopted, that the missionaries came and took you and saved you, hallelujah, something. I don't know, but it was amusing the first time, but it is offensive. I can only imagine what it is like to be a person of color in a lab, somewhere in Europe, in America, trying to make it, and with your peers not seeing you as an equal. What it's like trying to start a lab, trying to get funding, and just not getting the funding because people don't see you. All they see is your color. They don't see what you're capable of. And you have to be so amazing, for them to even notice you. And even then, it's like, yeah, but I'm better. That is just a no. So, yes, I'm lucky in the current space that my gender and my race are not issues. But not everyone else is lucky in this country, and very clearly overseas. So, I love awards for women in science. I think it's a great idea. As long as men continue to impede our progress, we should be allowed to celebrate our achievements. A lot of us have to work 10 times as hard for the same amount of credit, And the criteria for a lot of these awards is the same as those for any other scientific award. The only difference is that there is no bias towards men for these awards. And another advantage of them is that it's a great way of showcasing potential role models for women in the field and also for young girls. When you see people like you doing really well, it's encouraging and it really helps in boosting morale. So, yay to Women in Science Awards. I really hope to win one. So, yeah. I think that projects such as this are great in making women scientists more visible. But I think that we as women scientists also have a big role to play in telling our own stories, especially in the age of social media. There is no reason why we can't share a lot of the research that we're working on. You don't have to share proprietary work, but you can help people become more science literate. You can make science seem more interesting. You can make people aware that they can be anything they want to be. A lot of us come from backgrounds where people didn't see science as a viable career option. But visibility is important. If young girls see people like them, people who come from where they come from, then they're more likely to think of it as a viable career option. So as much as, yes, we can call on the general media to play a role, but I think we also have a role to play, and it's very easy. I mean, there's so many options. If you like making videos, there's YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. There's so many ways in which we can share our stories. Finally, I'd like to say thank you to Z for this opportunity. It was really lots of fun, and it really helped me think about how I got to be a scientist, something that I hadn't really thought about. The small things that contributed to it and that gave me the idea, first of all, and also the courage to pursue it. So it's been great. It's been a learning curve for me, and I hope you also learn something about what it's like to be a woman in science.